Good morning and welcome to Twickenham Stadium today. On the day I'm delighted to be announcing the England squad for the Rugby World Cup 2023. As I'm sure you'll all appreciate, selecting just 33 players from the breadth of great players we've had in our training camps has been quite a challenging task. We believe this 33 has the right blend of experience and young, exciting talent, and also has the positional flexibility and playing combinations that we'll require throughout the tournament. The coaching team and I welcome your questions, and we look forward to sharing our thoughts with you.
Steve, one of the biggest names to miss out is Henry Slade. A lot of focus on that decision. How difficult was it for you? How did you come to the decision, and how did he react?
So there's been a number of difficult decisions as you have to take the squad down to 33 players, and we have a lot of talented players to select from. So by that nature is that quality players miss out on the 33. Henry's been excellent throughout the training camp. He's clearly disappointed, but the message to the players that have not been selected is that be ready to come into this squad. We know that there will be changes. The past World Cups show us that there's bumps and bruises, and there has to be some change within the players. I think the average is nearly 2 players a squad over the last number of tournaments. So what I've asked every player who's not been selected who's been in our training camps is be ready to go.
And on Henry, what did you say to him? What more could he have done, or what were the reasons why he's not in?
Yeah, well, clearly in each of the conversations I have with each of those players, I have a personal conversation, and I give them share my thoughts on the decision-making process. Now, there are good players competing for each of these positions, and as I said earlier, and I've said this many times, I've decided that we'll have 3 players in key positions in the front row, scrum half, fly half, for the obvious reasons. What that means is that in other areas of the team, you need to have positional flexibility. You need to make some compromises. That's always the balance you have to do in this selection process.
How did he take it? And does he still have a future with England?
I think that Henry, along with all the players that were not selected within the squad that I spoke to, are disappointed. Clearly, they all want to represent their country, they want to represent England, and they've all worked incredibly hard to be part of this squad. I'd also say that each one of them, I know, is going to be ready to go should that call come and we require them out in France.
And at number 8, Billy Vunipola is your only specialist number 8. I know that there are other players who can play in that position. He's not played since April. Is that a risk?
So Billy's been fantastic in this training camp. It's been an opportunity to work with him, watch him and see just how hard he has worked to come back from his injury. He looks in great shape. He looks as fit as I've ever seen him, and I think his experience will add to the squad.
You haven't picked him in a team to this date. What's changed? Is it the fitness, or has there been a change in attitude? Can you put your finger on it?
Well, I think there's a number of things, and one of them, as I've alluded to, has been the opportunity to work with the players over a period of time now, and an opportunity to understand more about what the squad needs. I think then clearly looking at the squad in its entirety, what do we need in terms of, as I've discussed, the level of experience we need in some key positions, the type of player we need, what does the squad need, where's the balance of the squad. All those factors come into the decision-making process.
And how do you rate your chances at this World Cup?
Well, I think that this group of players, if you look at it now, they've got, we average over 40 caps, we've got an average age of 26. We've got, I think there's 14, in this squad there's 14 of the 23 from the Rugby World Cup final in 2019. So we've got a group of players that are experienced, a group of players that understand. Some players have played, this will be their 4th World Cup for some of them. They understand World Cup rugby, and that's exciting because that's blended with some players that have, this will be their first tournament and are bringing that incredible talent that they bring. So our job is to harness all their strengths, put them on the pitch, and set up in a way that will ensure we can put out top quality performances. And as for us, over the next 3 weeks, the next 3 games, we'll be building towards the tournament.
And for you, what constitutes success?
For us, as we look at it, and I see this every day with the players. I see them in their team room playing table tennis against each other. They're desperate to win in everything they do. And what I want to see is a group of players that is really work clear on what they want to do and how we're going to play, really fit and energised towards it, and then able to bring all their strengths onto the pitch. Because if you do that, you add their competitive spirit and competitive desire into it. They're desperate to win every encounter they go into. We'll take an approach as we build through these weeks. Then we get to the tournament. We'll make sure that we focus only one game at a time through the tournament.
But winning the World Cup, that's the bar, that's the absolute success?
This group of players that we work with are some of the most competitive people I've ever met. They want to win everything. They want to win everything they go into. Now, what I want to do is, as I say, we will build through these weeks till we get to the start of the tournament. We play Argentina, September 9th, Argentina, our first game of the World Cup. That'll be our focus. We play Argentina, the next game will be our focus. That's what we will go through this tournament with.
Thanks, Steve. Kevin, from your point of view, what were the key attributes you were looking for as a defensive coach when helping pick this squad?
I think there are a number of them. We went through a very thorough process. Steve and I had the Six Nations and the experience of working throughout that period and learning a bit more about the players. And then certainly this last 8 weeks and through watching the Premiership and getting around and speaking to people and understanding players gives a real insight. I'm not keen to share with you our defensive philosophy, but what we'll say is, we are, like most defences, you're heavily reliant on your back row and your centres to provide much of the energy and hit, and we feel we've got a really good balance there.
Hi Kevin, if I could just follow up that on defence for England. Can you talk us through which players you're working with as the defensive leaders and what options you'll have at the World Cup?
We're working with all of them. I know that sounds pretty broad, but when you put a squad together like this, they all have to bring some leadership qualities. You understand Owen is captain, Courtney and Ellis have done a wonderful job as second in charge, if you like. But right across the board, we're looking for leaders right throughout. So I mentioned the back row and the centres a moment ago. They're the positions we'll particularly be reliant on. But as you guys have probably seen, there's a number of other players within that squad who will provide that aggression and energy to defend like we can.
Thank you. And Richard, Henry Arundel being in the squad, we've seen him as an impact player. How do you see his attack developing with how young he is? Are we going to see more of him on the field in this World Cup, or do you see him as that impact?
Well, that's Steve's decision now, who gets selected and how many minutes they get. But on Henry, obviously incredibly talented boy, and every time he touches the ball, one of them players that there's a gasp in the stadium. So really keen to work with him to hopefully help him as much as he can, but it's our job to get him the ball in as much space as possible, because what he's got you can't teach.
And Tom, if I could ask you about Theo Dan. Obviously he must have really impressed come last weekend. Tell us a little bit about him and what you want to see of him at this World Cup.
So Theo's phenomenal. He's got a phenomenal amount of power and ability, and it's just our job to actually hone that and get that far in for the scrum.
Thank you.
Let's wait for the mic. Yeah, thanks, Nick.
Hi, Steve. Obviously, Alex Tom Brent hasn't made the cut. Can you just talk us through why that is? He must have been pretty gutted, I suppose. That's only natural, isn't it? But he's been, a regular for you up to this point.
Yeah, and without meaning to repeat myself, there are always good players that are going to miss out on the squad. I think Alex has done really well. He's trained well, and I think he's a very, very good player. I think there's a lot of competition in that back row. And I think, as we alluded to, there's also flexibility within that back row around positions. You've got Lewis Ludham's ability to play in all three, 6, 7 and 8. Ben Earl's ability to play 7 and 8. Tom Curry, 7, 8 and 6. Last World Cup played 6. So you see there's a lot of flexibility there. And for me, it's about making the decisions in the right combinations. And that's ultimately that's what it's come down to.
And Courtney Laws is fit and available, and obviously one of your vice captains. What kind of impact are you hoping to have from him? Because we've all seen in the past what he's been able to do, especially when he's fit.
Yeah, Courtney's a world-class player. is, I think this is his fourth World Cup, a multiple British Lion, a player who, in any team he brings, he instills confidence in those around him with the way he plays and the intensity he brings in his play on the pitch. He's very relaxed and calm off the pitch, and then steps onto the pitch and brings incredible competitive intensity. And I'm so looking forward to seeing that in an England shirt again.
Just on Henry Slade, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying about numbers and having to take the requirements of covering all bases with 310s and everything. But in terms of the attacking approach, did it sort of partly also come down to the fact that in terms of what you're looking to do, you've got Joe there who can obviously add extra sort of pace and dynamism and also play on the wing. It just didn't quite fit in terms of what Henry provides, especially if we're thinking about 13.
Yeah, well, I think as you look at the squad, you see there's a number of players who can play 13, can play 12. Joe, as you alluded to, gives you that wing cover. You've got Elliot Daly can play 13, or Lawrence play 13, Manu can play 13. Joe, we've got the ability of Owen to play 10, play 12. So we've got flexibility throughout the centres, which has been an important aspect. And I'll say again, there's good players, unfortunately, that you can't select. I would love to be more than 33 that I could pick. I can't. It's 33. So by the nature of being 33 and being limited to that, players will miss out.
And Kev, Sasuke, how much are you looking forward to this? You know, personally, with the challenge for you, because it's I know that you talked about the reasons why you wanted to, you know, take on this role and everything that comes with it. This is the pinnacle, isn't it, for I suppose any coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely delighted to be involved. I think during my short time working with England, there've been some tough experiences, but some great ones as well, and a lot of learning that's taken place. And it was great to be in Test week last week. Probably wasn't what we desired in the end, but we look forward to now to what's to come, and certainly from when we get on that plane at the end of August and go to France. I know from the experience around me and speaking to players what a great experience the World Cup is, so I'm looking forward to ripping in and giving it my best shot.
James.
Steve, you mentioned the playing the next game in front of you. You've got 3 games ahead now before you get to France. What's your strategy going to be in terms of building momentum against giving the whole squad opportunities? Do you have a clear strategy for that?
Yeah, we have a very clear framework of what we're working towards from a training load point of view, from a tactical point of view, to ensure that when we get to September the 9th, we are ready, because that's what we're building towards. Also, be clear is we want to win the Test matches. And I think I've said that from day one. We want to win the Test matches. So we have that. We're also to understand the need for adaptability. We also understand the need for adaptability to that framework. But yeah, we've got a very clear plan in mind.
And for you, Kevin, in terms of getting the defence stressed and test, what sort of challenges are you looking forward to from the teams that you'll be facing?
I actually feel we've tested our defence a fair bit over the last 8 weeks because of the competition for places and the way the squad have worked and how hard they've gone after training. We have had a fair few challenges. But yeah, really looking forward to coaching against some fantastic attacks, some different attacks tactically. We'll face some different teams down the track. But I think what's important for us, certainly this week, is to make sure we're ready to play on Saturday.
Hi Steve, now you've got your final squad. What can England fans expect from this World Cup squad in terms of style of play?
Yeah, so well, I think that the selection now is an important step. I think and I was asked a number of times around selecting and why would you announce the squad on this day. I think now our focus is on very much. It's on about us, this team, and getting better and improving, less about the selection. I know I noted last week that there was a lot of conversations, a lot of thoughts amongst the players preparing for a Test match, but also about selection. So I'm really pleased that we've announced the squad on this date. I think it's been an important step for us. And now we build, and I think that we've got to continue. We've got 3 important Test matches in front of us. Wales at Twickenham, Ireland in Dublin, and then Fiji back here at Twickenham. And each one of them is going to be a step forward in terms of how we play. We're still in a reasonably challenging training phase right now, and what we'll do is we'll start decreasing the training load as we get close to the tournament, so to see the team sharpen up, and we'll see that evidence very much. That will become more evident in the way we attack.
And just lastly for me, obviously with Wales again this weekend, can we expect something closer to what might be a first choice team this weekend at Twickenham?
Well, I think there's going to be changes, and I said this after the game on Saturday, that we'd had our finalists had been in camp about 4.5 weeks, and I didn't feel that it was right to be using very many of those finalists. I think they've had one more week preparing, and so I think that many of them will become more available for selection now. But I will get on the training field this afternoon, I'll have a good watch of the players and see where everybody is.
I can ask a question of Richard. What's the balance between building your attack and giving players license to do what they want versus maybe hiding part of what you're doing before the World Cup?
I said from the start I'd like players to go out and show the absolute best of themselves. Now they have to do that within what's best for the team. Now they've done that consistently in training, building a base up. I'm pretty confident come tournament time that we'll have the balance of what you've just suggested exactly right, where players can go out and feel like they can put their absolute best attacking performance on the field, but we do what's exactly right to make sure we're winning the game.
We're from a Japanese TV. This is questions for Steve. Obviously, you worked for a Japanese squad before, but how are you looking at the current Japanese team, and who would be the key players from the Japanese team that you need to look out for?
I think the current Japanese team is a really dangerous team, and that's been shown evidence in the last two World Cups. The team gets to the World Cup and has performed really well in the last two World Cups. I also saw on their recent tour in November of last year, their tour, how hard they pushed France, how in Japan pushed New Zealand so close. This is a really dangerous team and a really well coached team, and I think there's many players I could discuss with you. The one I always look to straight away is more than just a player, is Michael Leach, and what he brings from a leadership, from a figurehead point of view to that team. We know he's a great player. He's also, as I know firsthand, a very important person for them off the pitch.
Any more? Yeah, Charles.
Just a question for Tom, if that's okay. Scrum in the first half on Saturday seemed to go really well and then suffer a little bit in the second half. Are you sort of convinced and happy that what you saw in the first half, there's enough there to right those wrongs in the second, and that it won't sort of affect the preparation going forward?
Yeah, I think happy's a word I might not use. I think there's some really good bits in there that show we've worked on, and there's some stuff and we need to improve on. There's definitely stuff we can work on to move it forward.
Well,
Steve, England fans over the last couple of years have been pretty depressed with the results and what they've seen from the England team. Now you've got your squad. How confident are you that you can spring a few surprises? Not many people expect you to go that far in the World Cup. Do you think this is a team that is capable of more than England fans will think at the moment?
Well, I think as I spend time with these players on the training field, as I spend time with them and discussing aspects of the game with them, the more I sense the excitement from them about what they can possibly do in France. I think this is an incredible tournament we're all looking forward to, and I know firsthand from when the team gets itself into the tournament, as it did in 2007, and then focuses on each game as it comes and just tries to get better each week. And then I think if you do that, and you do that diligently, then I think the team has the potential to achieve something that they'll be very proud of.
And in looking at the talent you've got and comparing it to the other nations in the world, do you think there's enough there to win a World Cup?
I don't tend to waste my time talking about looking at what the other teams have got. Concentrate on what we have. And what I say again is that the players I have, the players I work with, I think they're fantastic, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them over the coming weeks to be ready for the start of the tournament.
Yes, Nick. Yeah.
Just to follow up, Steve, that's okay. You obviously haven't, we've talked a lot about the fact that you haven't had the time that other coaches in other nations have. They've been able to kind of layer things on, and you guys haven't. Clearly, that's always been the challenge. You've known that since day one. But you're confident by the time you get to the big games at the World Cup, you'll be able to have had, put those layers in place, especially in terms of attack, and be able to attack with the same kind of, I suppose, sophistication that some of the informed sides are doing that we've seen in the last sort of few years, where you haven't had that luxury.
So I've been really pleased to have the coaching team together for the last 8 weeks, and I promise you we've used every minute of the 8 weeks that we can, and as the players have entered camp, we've again gone through the fundamentals of what we need to do, and then also speak to the players about being the fastest learning team, and that's what we need to do. And so I think we've used this 8 weeks so far, and then the aspects we can take from Saturday's game, and we'll take forward to this Saturday. I'm looking forward to being back here at Twickenham on Saturday playing against Wales, and then we'll take it forward to the following week to make sure that when we get to Argentina to play against Argentina on September 9th that we're ready.
James.
Steve, one last one from me. I know you're a big friend of Gareth Southgate. We've seen a lot of a great summer of sport so far, both in cricket, in netball, the Lionesses a few minutes ago. Have you any plans to bring any of that drumbeat to the other sports into the squad before you go, just in terms of an emotional uplift or actually cross-transfer of ideas?
In terms of bringing...
in terms of the emotion and the learning from those other sports?
Well, I think that... as just discussed, we want to make sure we're learning fast. We spend an awful lot of time looking at different experiences, different rugby teams, different games that are ongoing, and also outside of just rugby, about what we can take as learning points for us to help us as a team move forward.
Any plans to bring anybody in for a few motivational stuff?
At this stage, I always have plans in place, and it's not something I'll be talking about publicly right now.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.